Hey guys, Matt Numrich here. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to go ahead and like this video and also subscribe to this page. We are always uploading brand new content on a weekly basis. In this video, we're going to cover a topic that, I'll be honest with you guys, are going to find in a whole lot of places right here. We're going to start with covering weapons versus empty hand. And all that means is that we think about that as the bad guy has a weapon and we are unarmed. But we could get into those situations where, let's say we have a weapon and we're up against an unarmed opponent. Now, when would we do that? Why would that be important? Well, once again, if I have a weapon and I have somebody who's threatening me, who's in front of me, but let's say I have a family member who's also being threatened by someone else, I need to get through this person. I'm not gonna drop my weapon just so I can go ahead and fight this person unarmed, okay? We're gonna go ahead, we're gonna get through that assailant, get through that attacker who's in front of us as effectively and as efficiently as possible using our weapon so we can go ahead and help out our family member, help out our friend, whatever that is. Maybe another scenario is that if we truly need to escape a situation and we can't escape the situation very, very easily, we have a weapon and the assailant, the attacker is unarmed. Once again, what can we do right there? We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna use our weapon to defend ourselves, create an opening, create an opportunity for us to escape, and that's why we must practice these kinds of scenarios. You know, if we go ahead and we start this off, let's say a stick-on-stick scenario, because that's what we're covering today is stick stuff. I'm gonna have Don have a stick and come right over here. If you have not checked out a video that we have covering this kind of specific kind of a scenario where the bad guy has a stick or an impact weapon, I also have a stick or an impact weapon, make sure you guys check that video. But ideally all we're doing is, when he's coming on in here and swinging, I'm simply smacking the hand right there. I'm defanging the snake, and that is what we call this right here. But in this particular video, it's a little bit different. Don's gonna go ahead and pitch that stick off to the side right here. He's going to be unarmed, but I still have a stick in this kind of a situation. Well, in this kind of scenario, we're gonna work through 3 Ps right here, okay? The first thing we're gonna do is that we're going to assume that we are in some sort of a closed kind of a situation. And why that is important is for this one main reason. If I have distance and I have a stick and Don is unarmed, who has the advantage right here, especially when it comes to distancing? Well, obviously I do. So what am I gonna do right here? Well, if I have the distance, I can simply hit and strike given this kind of distance. But in this video, we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna throw a wrench into it a little bit. We're gonna say that for some reason, we're enclosed. Now, this could be because the environment, maybe I'm in a close, tight hallway, maybe a very, very small room that has a lot of debris in it, maybe a lot of furniture or things like that. But a more common kind of a situation is that I have a weapon right here, and as I turn around, maybe I turn around over a corner or something like that, Don now comes in, and now we're in this close kind of quarter situation right here. Maybe I can't back up, or I can't back up very, very effectively. What do we do in this kind of scenario? That's what I want to cover in this video. And that's why we go ahead and we focus on these 3 Ps. The first P that we have right here is we make sure that we push. Now, why this is important is that we must make sure that we try to gain as much distance as possible. You guys gotta remember, if I have a stick right here or an impact weapon, and I'm in this kind of situation or this kind of distancing right here, this might be even a hindrance, not even an advantage. So I need to make sure that I back on up and push this person. Now what goes hand in hand in that is making sure that we get into the right stance. And you've heard me talk about this in other videos, but if I have a weapon right here, I wanna make sure that I have this weapon out in front of me, because now, especially in a longer range situation, this person must get through my weapon in order to get to me. Well, in this kind of scenario, that's why this video is so important, because now we're in a tight kind of a situation right here, and maybe I didn't start out that way, or even if I did start out this way, this weapon is now vulnerable to have it being taken away from me. So what must we do? Well, along with this push right here, I back on up where I now have the weapon in the back. I'm gonna go ahead, just for camera purposes right here, change this right here so you can see what I'm doing. If I turned around, or all of a sudden Don came up on me in a very, very quick manner right here, I need to make sure that I get into a stance where now this weapon is protected. I don't want to put this weapon out in front of me because Don can obviously grab it, okay? He's in that kind of distance or in that position to do so. I want to make sure that I get into the situation right here, and that requires a push right here while I go ahead and I do this. That's the first P, which is the push right here. Now, if I start out in this situation, let's say I have the weapon already back here, I can just go to my push right here. Okay, so however you guys get to this situation, we need to make sure that we put at least an arm's length distance in between the assailant and myself right here. This not only protects the weapon, but it also gives the correct distance where we can use the weapon as effectively as possible. So as we do so, I can start right here. I push, get into position right here. The second P is a poke. All we're doing here is we're taking this stick and I'm jabbing it around center mass. I like to go right for the person's belly right here, okay? That is going to create a situation where now if the person's hands are up, maybe his hands are on my hands right here. If I do this, man, that's gonna have his hands go down. So as I go here, this is what I want. Now, the third kind of P that we have right here is we go ahead, circle this around, and the third P is for pound. I wanna go right over the person's head. So the 3 steps that we have right here is a push, okay? Then we have a poke right here, and then as we come back right here, this comes right over the top of the head right here. Now, why is this pound position right here so important? Well, it's so important because we need to make sure that we efficiently and effectively rechamber this weapon for maximum kind of power, but also keep it out of reach of this person. If I go ahead and I just try to pull back right here, this person can easily close the gap on me again. And once again, I'm back to that square one again, where I'm in a close quarter situation with a long weapon. That's not what we want. I want to create that distance, inflict a shot of pain, so we get the person's hands going down, and that opens up the shot right over the person's head right there. So as I'm going over, this is the shot that I want right here. After the poke, as the rechambering happens, I come up right over the top, right over the person's head. Now, obviously, if I aim for the person's head, if this hits the shoulder, the clavicle right here, even the brachial area, very, very devastating kind of a blow for the person. So let's take a look at this again. Our push, which is the first P, our poke, which is the second one, and then our third one is the pound, and I pound right over the person's head right there. Those are the 3 steps that we have. I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna have Don pick up the pad, and you're gonna see this done at a little bit faster speed with a little bit of contact. Stay with us. All right, full contact. This is what we like to do. This is what we have to do with our weapon stuff. Very, very important to make sure that we have training weapons when we do this. We also have training gear, but we also have the people who are in this kind of a drill over here know what is going on for everybody's safety right here. Don knows that I have those 3 points right here. I'm gonna push, I'm gonna poke right here, and then as I come right here, he's just gonna hold that pad up a little bit higher so I can come right over the top. So once again, I go here, here, boom. Notice how this side of my body always stays in the background right here. Even when I go ahead, I don't want to do this. Why is this important right here? Because if I would happen to miss, I don't want this longer weapon in the front right here. Therefore, he can go ahead, close the gap, and take this weapon away from me. At the very, very least, he closes the gap and gets me into a distance right here where this weapon really becomes irrelevant, right? So I need to make sure that I always keep this in the back right here. So as I push, I poke, and I pound. Let's do that again. I push, I poke, and I pound. Now, if I have Don backing up a little bit, let's say he comes into this range, I can do the exact same thing. I can push, poke, pound. Notice everything stays in the back. This hand comes right around like a nice little windmill. Boom, right over the top of the head right there. So push, poke, pound, just like this. Now we're gonna do in the next part of the video right here, Don and I are gonna move around a little bit more. I'm gonna wait until he closes the gap. Once he closes the gap, then I can go ahead and I can do what I have to do, work through the 3 Ps. But what's important is that I don't know when Don's gonna close the gap. This is where training comes on, and it's so important. This is not something that we just go ahead and do it from a static position over and over again. We must include movement, we must include unpredictability, and that's what we're gonna do in this next drill.